Welcome. Take a moment to settle into wherever you are resting. Perhaps the room is dim, the air still, and the quiet of night has begun to soften the edges of the day. Your body may still be carrying traces of movement, thoughts, or emotions from earlier hours. But right now, there is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to accomplish. Just being here is enough. Tonight, we are going to explore something quietly fascinating. While you sleep, while your eyes close and your muscles soften, your mind does not simply switch off. In fact, an entire hidden world of gentle activity begins to unfold inside your brain. Psychologists and neuroscientists often describe sleep as one of the most important forms of mental maintenance the human brain performs. While you rest, your mind organizes memories, processes emotions, releases stress signals, and even reshapes the connections between brain cells. In a sense, the sleeping mind is quietly working on your behalf. You may not notice it happening. There is no sensation, no awareness of it. Yet beneath the surface, the subconscious parts of your brain are moving through patterns and rhythms that support clarity, healing, and emotional balance. Tonight, as you drift deeper into rest, you'll discover what your subconscious mind is gently doing while you sleep. You'll understand why memories reorganize overnight, why emotions soften with rest, why dreams sometimes appear, and how your brain quietly prepares you for tomorrow. And as the story of your sleeping mind unfolds, the explanations will gradually become softer, slower, and simpler, allowing your thoughts to loosen their grip. By the time we reach the quiet end of this journey, the knowledge itself may feel less important than the calm rhythm carrying you towards sleep. So allow your breathing to slow, just a little. Let your shoulders sink a little deeper into the surface beneath you. And now we begin. When most people think about sleep, they imagine the brain shutting down. It can feel that way from the inside. Your thoughts grow dim, your awareness fades, and eventually, consciousness disappears into the soft darkness of sleep. From your perspective, it feels almost like a gentle power down. The busy stream of thoughts that filled your mind throughout the day begins to thin. The constant commentary of your inner voice slows. The details of the room around you fade from attention. And slowly, almost without noticing the exact moment, awareness drifts away. But neuroscientists have discovered something surprising. The brain is still very active while you sleep. In fact, in some ways it becomes even more organized and coordinated than during waking hours. Research using brain imaging, technology that allows scientists to see patterns of activity inside the brain, shows that sleep is not a passive state. Instead, the brain enters a series of structured phases, each one with its own rhythms and purposes. Sleep is not a blank space between 2 days. It is a carefully orchestrated biological process that your brain moves through every night. Psychologists often describe sleep as a kind of nighttime workshop for the mind. During the day, your brain receives a constant stream of information. Every sight, every sound, every conversation, every emotional moment adds to a growing pile of experiences. Even small things add up. The brain notices the tone of someone's voice during a conversation. It notices subtle changes in facial expressions. It records the rhythm of music, the smell of coffee in the morning, the words you read on a screen, the emotions you felt during a stressful moment. Many of these details pass through awareness quickly, but the brain still registers them. This is because your brain evolved to constantly scan the environment for meaning. Long ago, recognizing small changes in the environment could mean the difference between safety and danger. Over thousands of generations, the brain became highly sensitive to patterns, signals, and emotional cues. So throughout the day, your mind quietly gathers information. Some of it is useful, some of it is neutral, some of it carries emotional weight. But by the end of the day, your brain has collected far more information than it can comfortably store in its raw form. Imagine trying to keep every page of every conversation, every sound, every passing thought permanently organized in your mind. The mental system would quickly become overwhelmed. Sleep gives the mind time to sort through it. Neuroscientists have found that during sleep, the brain begins reviewing and reorganizing the day's experiences. Signals move through networks of brain cells called neurons, specialized cells that communicate through tiny electrical and chemical messages. These neurons form vast networks, connecting different parts of the brain together. Some networks are responsible for memory. Others support emotion, movement, language, and attention. During waking life, these networks are constantly responding to new information. But during sleep, many of those external demands disappear. The brain suddenly has space to review what it has collected. Researchers studying sleep have observed that signals sometimes travel through the brain in patterns that resemble earlier experiences from the day. It is as if fragments of waking life briefly echo inside the sleeping brain. Moments from earlier in the day may briefly activate again inside neural circuits. A conversation you had, a skill you practiced, a route you traveled. But instead of reliving the day exactly as it happened, the brain extracts patterns and meaning from those experiences. The brain asks quieter questions. What mattered here? What should we remember? What can gently fade away? Research suggests that the brain is especially interested in two things during sleep: learning and emotional balance. If something taught you a useful lesson, the brain often strengthens the neural pathways connected to that information. For example, if you practiced a new skill, studied something unfamiliar, or tried to solve a problem, the brain may reinforce those patterns overnight. This process is part of how learning becomes more stable. But sleep also cares about emotions. Experiences connected to strong emotion, especially stress, excitement, or surprise, often receive extra attention during sleep. The brain revisits these memories, but something interesting happens during the process. The emotional intensity often softens. Neuroscientists believe this may occur because certain brain chemicals associated with stress become less active during parts of sleep. This allows the brain to review emotional experiences without triggering the full stress response that occurred earlier. In simple terms, sleep helps the brain keep the lesson while gently lowering the emotional charge. You keep the understanding, but the feeling becomes easier to carry. In other words, your brain is quietly asking questions while you sleep. What did we learn today? What matters? What can be released? The subconscious mind, the part of your mental system that works outside of conscious awareness, handles much of this work. You may never feel it happening. There is no sensation that tells you your memories are being reorganized. There is no signal that announces emotional processing or neural adjustments. Yet these quiet processes shape how you remember the past and how you respond to the future. Psychologists often note that sleep plays a major role in clarity. Have you ever gone to bed feeling confused or overwhelmed by a problem, only to wake up with a clearer perspective? The problem itself may not have changed, but the brain has reorganized how the information fits together. Connections between ideas may have strengthened. Emotional reactions may have softened. The mind may have discovered patterns that were difficult to see while attention was scattered during the day. Psychologists believe that sleep allows the brain to reconnect ideas and information in ways that are difficult during waking life, when attention is constantly pulled in many directions. During waking hours, your mind is responding to incoming signals, messages, sounds, movement, tasks. But during sleep, the brain finally has uninterrupted time. No incoming emails, no conversations requiring immediate response, no decisions demanding attention. The mind can move slowly through memories. It can revisit experiences without urgency, strengthening some connections, gently weakening others. Imagine a library reorganizing its shelves overnight. During the day, visitors move through the building quickly, pulling books from different sections. Some books are left on tables, others stacked in small piles waiting to be sorted. By the evening, the library may feel slightly disordered, but overnight, the librarians quietly move through the aisles. Books that were scattered during the busy day are returned to their proper places. Important volumes are placed where they can be easily found again. Less useful papers may be filed away or removed from the main shelves. The sleeping brain works in a similar way. Memories are placed into networks where they make sense. Connections between ideas become easier to access. Emotional signals are balanced, and slowly, order returns to the mental system. While this organization continues, the body itself begins relaxing more deeply. Sleep is not only a process for the brain, it also supports the entire body. Your breathing grows slower, your muscles soften, your heart rate gradually decreases. The nervous system, the network that connects the brain to the body, shifts into a calmer mode designed for rest and recovery. In this state, the body begins releasing tension that built up throughout the day. Small repairs occur within tissues. Energy systems reset. The immune system continues its quiet monitoring of the body's health. All of this unfolds naturally, while the mind drifts deeper into sleep, and the rhythms of sleep begin guiding the brain toward even deeper states of restoration. Thoughts grow further apart. The day slowly dissolves into memory, and the quiet work of the sleeping mind continues, gently shaping the clarity you will wake with tomorrow. To understand what your subconscious mind is doing during sleep, it helps to first understand what the subconscious actually is. In everyday language, the subconscious refers to mental processes that happen outside your direct awareness. These are activities the brain performs automatically, without needing your attention or deliberate control. For example, you do not consciously decide to breathe each moment of the day. Your lungs expand and contract on their own. Your heart continues beating in a steady rhythm. Your body regulates temperature, balances hormones, and repairs tissues quietly in the background. The brain works in a similar way. Many of its most important processes unfold beneath the surface of conscious thought. You don't consciously control the way memories are organized. You don't instruct your brain to connect one idea with another. You don't manually regulate emotional signals or decide which experiences should remain important tomorrow. Those tasks are handled by deeper systems within the brain. Much of this activity involves structures located beneath the outer layer of the brain, sometimes called the cortex. The cortex is the thin outer layer responsible for conscious thinking, reasoning, decision-making, language, and the sense of awareness that feels like you. When you analyze a problem, plan your next action, or reflect on a memory, the cortex is heavily involved. But underneath that layer are older brain systems that evolved long before conscious thought appeared in humans. These deeper regions manage emotional responses, memory formation, and survival instincts. They operate continuously, whether you are aware of them or not. Neuroscientists sometimes refer to these deeper structures as part of the brain's subcortical systems, meaning areas located beneath the cortex. They include structures involved in emotion, motivation, memory, and basic biological rhythms. These systems helped early humans respond quickly to danger, remember useful information, and adapt to changing environments long before complex reasoning became part of human cognition. In a sense, the subconscious mind represents the brain's quiet background intelligence. It gathers signals, recognizes patterns, and organizes experience without needing conscious attention. During waking life, the conscious and subconscious parts of the mind work together. The conscious mind focuses on tasks that require attention: reading, speaking, solving problems, navigating social situations. Meanwhile, the subconscious monitors everything else. It notices emotional cues in other people's expressions. It registers small changes in the environment. It stores fragments of experience that may later become memories. But when you fall asleep, the balance shifts. The conscious mind slowly quiets. The steady inner voice that narrates your waking thoughts fades into the background. The systems responsible for monitoring the outside world begin to reduce their activity. And, as that happens, the subconscious mind becomes more prominent. Neuroscientists have observed that certain brain areas responsible for logic and self-monitoring become less active during sleep, while memory and emotional processing systems remain engaged. In other words, the brain stops analyzing the world moment by moment. Instead, it turns inward. This shift allows the brain to explore memories and connections more freely. During waking hours, your attention constantly jumps from one stimulus to another. Sounds, messages, conversations, and responsibilities compete for mental space. But sleep removes most of those demands. The brain is no longer reacting to incoming information. It finally has time to review what has already happened. For example, a structure called the hippocampus plays a central role in memory formation. The hippocampus is a small structure located deep within the brain, and it acts somewhat like a temporary storage system during the day. Every time you experience something new, learning a fact, meeting a person, or navigating a new environment, the hippocampus briefly records that information. But the hippocampus is not designed to store memories permanently. Its role is more like a holding space. Experiences pass through it before being stored more permanently across wider networks in the brain. But the hippocampus has limited capacity. It cannot hold an unlimited number of experiences indefinitely. During sleep, especially during the deeper stages, the brain begins transferring important memories from temporary storage into long-term networks spread throughout the cortex. Researchers sometimes describe this process as memory consolidation. Consolidation simply means strengthening and stabilizing a memory so it becomes easier to access later. You might think of it as the brain carefully saving important files after a long day of activity. If you have ever studied something in the evening and found it easier to recall the next day, sleep likely played a role. While you rested, the hippocampus may have replayed the neural patterns associated with what you learned. Those patterns gradually became integrated into larger networks of memory. But the subconscious mind does more than store information. It also searches for patterns. Human brains are deeply wired to recognize patterns in the world. This ability helped our ancestors predict weather changes, identify food sources, and recognize social relationships. Recognizing patterns allows the brain to make predictions about what might happen next. And prediction is one of the brain's most powerful tools. When the brain understands patterns, it can respond more efficiently to future situations. While you sleep, networks of neurons replay fragments of experiences, testing connections between them. Scientists studying sleep sometimes observe bursts of neural activity that resemble patterns from waking life. These bursts may represent the brain reviewing information and exploring possible connections. Studies in neuroscience suggest that the brain may even simulate possibilities during sleep, quietly rehearsing different combinations of memories and ideas. This could explain why creative insights sometimes appear after rest. You may have experienced this yourself. A problem that seemed unsolvable during the day suddenly feels clearer in the morning. An idea that did not occur to you before suddenly seems obvious. The mind has had time to wander through connections it might not consider during waking hours. Without the constant pressure of immediate tasks, the brain can explore ideas more freely. At the same time, emotional experiences are being gently processed. A region of the brain called the amygdala is heavily involved in emotional responses, especially those related to fear or stress. During waking life, the amygdala helps the brain quickly recognize emotionally important situations. If something feels threatening or urgent, the amygdala helps trigger responses that prepare the body for action. But during sleep, communication between the amygdala and other brain areas changes. Research suggests that certain sleep stages allow emotional memories to be revisited in a calmer chemical environment. Stress signals in the brain may be reduced while the memory itself is reviewed. This may help reduce the emotional intensity of difficult memories while preserving the lessons they carry. In simple terms, sleep helps separate feeling from learning. You keep the understanding, but the emotional weight becomes lighter. Over time, this process helps maintain emotional balance. Without it, stressful experiences could accumulate, leaving the mind constantly on edge. Sleep acts as a kind of nightly reset for emotional systems. The subconscious mind slowly moves through the emotional landscape of the day. Moments of tension are softened. Important lessons are stored. Unnecessary emotional signals gradually fade. This quiet processing allows the mind to maintain stability over long periods of time. And while this quiet work continues, your awareness drifts further away from the busy patterns of waking thought. The mind becomes calmer. the steady stream of analysis fades into the background. Instead of constantly evaluating the past or planning the future, the brain begins resting within slower rhythms. Neurons fire in steady waves. Breathing deepens. Muscles loosen. The rhythms of brain activity grow slower and more synchronized, and the gentle architecture of sleep continues building the foundations for rest. Your subconscious mind continues its quiet work without needing your attention. Memories are organized, patterns are explored, emotions are balanced, and slowly, the mind drifts deeper into the peaceful rhythms of sleep. As the mind continues its quiet work through the night, another gentle process begins to unfold. Your brain starts deciding what to keep. Every day, you experience thousands of moments, conversations, movements, sounds, emotions, thoughts, and small details pass through your awareness. But the brain cannot store everything with equal importance. If it tried, the mind would quickly become overwhelmed with noise. So instead, the brain sorts. Neuroscientists often describe memory as something closer to a living system than a recording device. Memories are not perfect copies of events. They are patterns of activity spread across networks of neurons, brain cells that communicate through tiny electrical pulses and chemical signals. During sleep, these networks begin quietly strengthening certain patterns while letting others fade. Research shows that the brain prioritizes memories that carry meaning. Information connected to learning, emotional experiences, or future decisions tends to receive more attention during sleep. For example, if you learned a new skill during the day, practiced a musical instrument, studied information, or had a meaningful conversation, the brain often replays those neural patterns during sleep. Scientists have observed this replay in laboratory studies. In some experiments, animals learning a maze showed specific patterns of brain activity while navigating it. Later, during sleep, those same patterns appeared again, almost as if the brain was rehearsing the experience. Researchers believe similar processes occur in the human brain. Your sleeping mind gently reviews the day's experiences, strengthening useful connections. But this process also involves emotional balance. During waking life, emotions can sometimes amplify memories. A stressful event may feel overwhelming in the moment. The emotional intensity can make the experience seem larger than it really is. Sleep helps recalibrate that intensity. Studies suggest that certain sleep stages allow emotional memories to be revisited without the same stress signals present during the original experience. The brain can review the memory while the body remains calm. Psychologists sometimes describe this as emotional decoupling. The lesson remains. The emotional surge slowly fades. Over time, this process helps the mind integrate experiences rather than becoming trapped by them. You may have noticed that situations which felt overwhelming during the day can feel clearer the next morning. What once seemed tangled begins to make more sense. Sleep allows the brain to step back. It processes experiences without the urgency of the moment. In many ways, the sleeping mind acts like a gentle editor. It reviews the pages of the day and decides how they fit into the larger story of your life. The emotional tone softens, connections between memories become clearer, and gradually, the mind prepares itself for deeper states of rest. As the brain continues its nighttime sorting, electrical rhythms inside the brain begin to slow. These rhythms are often called brain waves. They are patterns of electrical activity created as millions of neurons communicate with each other. During waking hours, brain waves move quickly. Thoughts shift rapidly from one topic to another. But during sleep, these waves grow slower and more synchronized. The mind is beginning to settle. The deeper layers of sleep are quietly approaching. As sleep deepens, the subconscious mind begins another subtle activity. It replays fragments of experience, not in the way a video replay works, but in the form of neural patterns, small bursts of activity traveling through networks of neurons. Neuroscientists have found that during certain sleep stages, the brain briefly activates circuits that were used earlier in the day. This replay helps strengthen learning. When the brain repeats these patterns, it reinforces the connections between neurons involved in that experience. In neuroscience, this strengthening is often called synaptic plasticity. Plasticity simply means the brain's ability to change. The connections between neurons are not fixed. They grow stronger with repetition and weaker when unused. Sleep gives the brain time to adjust these connections. If you practiced a skill during the day, something physical like playing a sport, or something mental like solving a problem, the brain may quietly rehearse that pattern while you sleep. But the subconscious mind also releases things. Not every experience deserves permanent storage. The brain must decide what is worth keeping. Researchers believe that during sleep, the brain weakens certain connections between neurons. This process helps prevent mental overload. Without it, your brain would become cluttered with small, irrelevant details. This gentle pruning of neural connections helps preserve clarity. Think of it like tending a garden. Healthy plants grow stronger with care, while unnecessary branches are trimmed away so the entire system can remain balanced. The subconscious mind performs this careful tending throughout the night. And sometimes, this replay of memories contributes to dreams. Dreams are still not fully understood. Even neuroscientists continue to explore their purpose. But many researchers believe that dreams reflect the brain's attempt to integrate memory fragments, emotions, and ideas. This is why dreams often feel unusual. Your mind may combine elements from different experiences, faces, places, emotions, into a single scene. But beneath the strangeness, something meaningful may be happening. The brain is exploring connections. It is testing possibilities. It is gently reorganizing experiences. Dreams may also help regulate emotional stress. Some studies suggest that dreaming allows the brain to simulate challenging situations in a safe environment. The mind practices responding to emotions while the body remains calm. Over time, this may help improve emotional resilience. Even when dreams are forgotten upon waking, the underlying processes still unfold. The subconscious mind continues its quiet work. Memories are replayed. Learning is reinforced. Unnecessary information is released. And slowly, the activity of the brain becomes even more rhythmic and steady. The deeper stages of sleep are arriving now. Brain waves slow further. Your breathing grows softer. Your body sinks more completely into rest. And the mind begins entering one of its most restorative states. At this stage of sleep, something remarkable begins to unfold inside the brain. The pace of activity changes. Electrical signals that once moved quickly between different regions begin to slow. Instead of scattered bursts of communication, large areas of the brain begin to move together in steady rhythms. Neuroscientists call these patterns slow wave rhythms. A slow wave is exactly what it sounds like. A gentle rise and fall of electrical activity moving across the brain like a calm tide. If you could watch the brain during this stage using specialized instruments, you would see wide waves of activity traveling through networks of neurons. These waves move slowly, almost like breathing. Activity rises, it pauses, then it slowly falls. Moments later, the pattern repeats. These waves occur when large groups of neurons begin firing together in steady patterns. Neurons, the tiny cells that make up the brain, communicate using electrical impulses and chemical signals. During waking life, these signals travel rapidly and unpredictably, responding to sights, sounds, thoughts, and emotions. Your attention jumps from one thing to another. One moment you are reading. The next moment you notice a sound. Then a thought appears, followed by another. Brain activity during the day reflects this constant shifting. But during deep sleep, many neurons begin moving together in slow, coordinated rhythms. Instead of thousands of independent signals firing randomly, large networks of brain cells become synchronized. This synchronization appears to play an important role in restoring the brain. Researchers studying sleep believe these slow rhythms create conditions that allow the brain to repair itself, organize memories, and maintain long-term health. One of the most fascinating functions of slow-wave sleep involves the brain's cleaning process. Just like the body produces waste during physical activity, the brain produces small byproducts while processing information throughout the day. Every time neurons communicate with one another, small chemical leftovers remain behind. Under normal conditions, these byproducts are harmless, but over time, they need to be cleared away. For many years, scientists wondered how the brain removed this waste, since the brain does not have the same cleaning system used by the rest of the body. Then researchers discovered something remarkable. During deep sleep, a system called the glymphatic system becomes far more active. The glymphatic system is a network that allows fluid to move through the spaces between brain cells. This fluid gently washes through brain tissue, carrying away waste products that accumulated during the day. You might imagine it as a slow nighttime rinse. When you are awake, the brain is too busy processing information to perform this cleaning efficiently. But during deep sleep, neurons slightly reduce their activity, and the spaces between cells expand just enough to allow fluid to flow more freely. This quiet flow helps remove metabolic waste from brain tissue. Scientists believe this nightly cleaning process plays an important role in maintaining long-term brain health. While the brain rests, the glymphatic system quietly clears away the day's byproducts, allowing the brain to begin the next day refreshed. But slow-wave sleep also supports something equally important: neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to reshape its own structure through experience. For many years, scientists believed the adult brain was relatively fixed, but modern neuroscience has shown that the brain remains adaptable throughout life. Every time you learn something new, tiny changes occur in the connections between neurons. These connections are called synapses, points where one neuron communicates with another. When two neurons activate together repeatedly, their connection becomes stronger. Signals travel between them more easily. This strengthening allows the brain to build stable pathways for skills, knowledge, and memories. At the same time, connections that are rarely used may gradually weaken. The brain adjusts itself constantly, reinforcing patterns that are helpful while reducing unnecessary noise. In this way, your brain slowly reshapes itself based on what you practice, think about, and experience most often. Sleep appears to support this reshaping process. During deep sleep, the brain stabilizes important connections formed during the day. You might imagine it as if the brain presses a quiet save button. The neural circuits associated with new learning become more stable, allowing you to recall information more easily the next day. Studies have shown that people often perform better on certain tasks after sleeping than they did immediately after learning them. This improvement suggests that sleep strengthens the neural patterns involved in those skills. But neuroplasticity during sleep is not limited to factual learning or physical skills. Emotional learning may also benefit. Experiences that once felt confusing or overwhelming can become clearer after sleep. When emotional events occur during the day, the brain may struggle to fully interpret them in the moment. Stress signals, distractions, and competing thoughts can make it difficult to integrate the experience into existing knowledge. Sleep provides the brain with a quieter environment to process these events. Without the constant demands of waking life, the mind can revisit emotional experiences with more perspective. Connections between memories and emotions may reorganize. New understanding may emerge. Psychologists believe this is one reason why emotional experiences sometimes feel easier to understand after a good night's rest. The brain has had time to integrate them into the broader network of memory and knowledge. Researchers also believe this process may explain why sleep deprivation, going without enough sleep, can make thinking feel foggy or emotional regulation more difficult. Without sleep, the brain misses an important opportunity to reset its internal systems. Neural connections may remain unstable. Emotional signals may remain heightened. Memory consolidation may remain incomplete. But tonight, your brain is moving through these natural rhythms exactly as it was designed to do. The slow waves rise and fall, Large networks of neurons pulse together in gentle cycles. The subconscious mind continues its quiet adjustments. Connections that support learning grow stronger. Others that are no longer useful slowly fade. The brain is not forcing these changes. It is simply following patterns that evolved over millions of years. And as this slow rhythm continues, your body relaxes further. Muscles loosen. The small tensions held in your shoulders, neck, and face gradually soften. Your breathing deepens and becomes more regular. Air moves slowly in and out of your lungs. The nervous system shifts further into its restorative state. The mind becomes quieter. Thoughts appear less frequently. And when they do appear, they drift away easily. In this peaceful state, the brain is not striving or forcing change. There is no effort involved, no conscious control required. The brain simply follows its natural rhythms. Slow waves rise and fall. Neural networks reorganize gently. Waste products are cleared away. Connections strengthen where they are needed. Others fade where they are not. All of this happens quietly, without interruption, quietly restoring balance, quietly supporting clarity, quietly preparing the mind for the next day. But for now, the night continues unfolding. The rhythms grow softer. The waves of brain activity move slowly through the darkness of sleep. The explanations themselves begin to fade into calm, and the sleeping mind drifts further and further into rest. As the night continues, the brain begins to move through its deepest rhythms of rest. Earlier, we explored how sleep helps the brain sort memories, process emotions, and strengthen learning. But now, another quiet transformation begins to unfold. The mind begins to slow. Neuroscientists have observed that as sleep deepens, the communication between certain brain regions becomes more rhythmic and less complex. During waking life, your brain is constantly switching tasks. One moment you are remembering something, the next you are planning, noticing sounds, or reacting to new information. This constant shifting requires fast, scattered brain activity. But deep sleep invites the opposite. Instead of rapid switching, the brain settles into long, steady cycles of activity. Electrical signals travel through the brain in waves that rise slowly, pause, and gently fall again. Researchers often describe this stage of sleep as slow-wave sleep, and it represents one of the most restorative states the brain can experience. In this stage, something interesting happens to conscious awareness. The parts of the brain responsible for monitoring the outside world begin to quiet. The systems that normally scan the environment for sound, light, or movement grow less active. This is why deep sleepers can remain asleep even when small noises occur nearby. The brain has shifted its attention inward. Psychologists sometimes describe sleep as the brain temporarily turning away from the external world in order to care for its internal systems. The mind is no longer focused on solving problems or anticipating the next task. Instead, it becomes absorbed in maintenance, restoration, and gentle integration. During this phase, breathing often becomes slower and deeper. Your muscles release tension that may have built up during the day. Even heart rhythms often become steadier. The entire nervous system begins to shift into a calmer state. The nervous system is the body's communication network, connecting the brain with organs, muscles, and senses. It constantly balances between activity and rest. One branch of the nervous system prepares you for action. Psychologists sometimes call this the fight or flight response because it activates during stress or urgency. Another branch supports relaxation, digestion, and recovery. During deep sleep, this restorative branch becomes dominant. The body enters a state where healing processes can unfold more easily. Cells repair small damage from the day. Hormones that support growth and recovery are released. Even the immune system, the body's defense against illness, appears to benefit from this stage of sleep. But while the body rests, the brain continues its quiet patterns. Neurons fire together in slow waves, forming large synchronized rhythms across different brain regions. These waves move gently across the brain like tides across a calm shoreline. You might imagine the brain breathing in slow motion. Activity rises, it pauses, then it slowly falls. This pattern repeats again and again through the deeper hours of the night. Scientists believe these rhythms help stabilize memory networks and allow the brain to restore its energy balance. And there's also something else happening. As brain activity slows, the mind begins to release its tight grip on structured thought. The organized, logical thinking of waking life becomes less dominant. Instead, awareness drifts into softer mental landscapes. Images may appear briefly. Thought fragments may surface and dissolve. This is the quiet territory where dreams sometimes begin to form. Dreaming most often occurs during a stage of sleep known as REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. In this stage, brain activity becomes slightly more active again. and the eyes move gently beneath closed eyelids. Researchers believe dreams may reflect the brain's effort to weave memories, emotions, and imagination into meaningful patterns. But not every dream carries a message or meaning. Sometimes dreams simply reflect the brain exploring possibilities. Sometimes they are the mind's way of processing emotional experiences, and sometimes they are just the natural byproduct of a brain that is active while the body rests. Even when dreams fade by morning, their role in emotional processing may still remain. The subconscious mind continues adjusting emotional signals during the night. Studies suggest that sleep may help regulate the balance of chemicals in the brain that influence mood, such as serotonin and dopamine. These chemical messengers play roles in how we experience motivation, pleasure, and emotional stability. During sleep, the brain's chemical environment shifts. Stress hormones that may have been elevated during the day gradually decline. Calming signals grow stronger. Over time, this nightly cycle helps maintain emotional balance. It is one reason that after restful sleep, problems sometimes feel easier to face. The brain has quietly recalibrated itself, and as these rhythms continue through the night, something else begins to happen. Your sense of self, the continuous stream of thoughts that normally narrates your waking life, grows quieter. The inner voice softens. The constant evaluation of experiences begins to fade. Instead, the mind drifts into wider, more spacious awareness. Psychologists sometimes refer to this shift as a reduction in cognitive load. Cognitive load simply means the amount of mental effort your brain is using. During waking hours, cognitive load can be high. You are processing information, making decisions, responding to events. But sleep gradually lowers that load. The mind releases tasks one by one. The to-do lists disappear. The need to solve or interpret every thought begins to fade. And in their place, something peaceful appears. Stillness. Your breathing moves quietly in and out. The body feels heavy and supported. The brain continues its slow rhythms of restoration. And the subconscious mind keeps working gently in the background, organizing experiences in ways you do not need to witness. This quiet stage of sleep is not empty. It is full of subtle activity that supports clarity, emotional balance, and learning. But from the inside, it simply feels like rest. And as these rhythms continue, the mind becomes even softer. Thoughts stretch further apart. Silence grows wider. The night carries you gently toward deeper calm. Now, the mind moves into its quietest spaces. Much of the work your brain needed to do tonight is already underway. Memories have been reviewed. Emotions have softened. Neural connections have been strengthened where they are needed and loosened where they are not. The subconscious mind continues its gentle activity, but the intensity of mental processing fades. The brain settles into repeating cycles of sleep stages, moving slowly through deeper rest and lighter dreaming. Each cycle lasts roughly 90 minutes, repeating several times through the night. Psychologists sometimes describe sleep as a tide that rises and falls. The mind drifts downward into deep rest. Then it rises briefly toward lighter sleep or dreams. Then it gently sinks again. This rhythm continues quietly until morning. You do not need to guide it. Your brain already knows the pattern. Just as your heart beats without conscious effort, your brain moves through sleep cycles naturally. One of the remarkable features of the human brain is that it carries its own instructions for restoration. Neuroscientists have discovered that sleep patterns appear across cultures, across environments, and across generations. Even in very different conditions, the brain still seeks this rhythmic pattern of rest. It is part of your biological design. And as your mind drifts deeper, the boundaries between thoughts become softer. Earlier in the night, explanations and ideas may have filled your attention. Now they begin dissolving into slower, simpler awareness. The brain no longer needs detailed understanding. Instead, it rests within gentle patterns. Breathing, stillness, soft electrical rhythms moving quietly through the brain. Your subconscious continues to maintain the systems that support tomorrow's clarity. Neurons communicate through small pulses of electricity. Chemical messengers carry signals between cells. Networks that support memory and learning remain quietly active. But none of this requires your effort. The subconscious mind works without urgency, without pressure, without noise. It simply follows the rhythms built into the brain over millions of years of evolution. And those rhythms are calm, steady, patient. As sleep deepens further, your body continues releasing tension. The muscles in your face soften. The small muscles around your eyes relax. Your jaw loosens. Your shoulders sink slightly deeper. Breathing remains slow and even. Air moves in and out like gentle waves reaching the shore. With each breath, the nervous system settles further into its restorative mode. The brain's slow waves continue rising and falling. The glymphatic system quietly clears the byproducts of the day's activity. Neurons reset their sensitivity so they can communicate clearly tomorrow. Emotional signals remain balanced. Memory networks stabilize. And slowly, awareness drifts further from the surface of thought. The mind does not disappear. It simply becomes quiet. Like a lake at night when the wind fades, the water becomes smooth. Reflections grow clearer. Nothing needs to move. Nothing needs to change. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Supporting rest, supporting learning, supporting balance, all while you sleep. And so the night continues, breath by breath, wave by wave, your subconscious mind gently guiding the rhythms of sleep, until morning eventually arrives. But for now, there is only rest, only stillness, only the quiet work of a peaceful mind drifting through the calm patterns of sleep.